You lie down in the dark, and the room settles around you. The air is still. The faintest hum of distant traffic, maybe, or the quiet breathing of the house, presses gently at the edges of your awareness. The mattress cradles your weight, the pillow supports your head, and for the first time today, you are not moving, not scrolling, not talking, not reacting. You just hear. You close your eyes. Your thoughts at first are noisy, remembered conversations, unfinished tasks, tiny worries that try to claw their way back into the front of your mind. But slowly, as your breathing deepens and evens out, those edges blur. Sentences become fragments. Fragments become shapes. Shapes become a soft, drifting fog. Somewhere in that fog, a single image appears. A hallway. At first it's just a sense of place, a feeling of standing inside something long and narrow, where air moves differently, where sound travels in straight lines. Then details begin to collect around that sensation like dust settling in a beam of light. The hallway is dim but not dark. Soft, warm lights glow along the ceiling, spaced evenly, their halos overlapping like gentle ripples on still water. The walls are smooth and pale, a muted, off-white color that seems to drink in sound and reflection. The floor beneath your feet feels cool and solid, stone or polished concrete, bare, without carpets or rugs. You look down. You're barefoot. Your skin meets the smooth chill of the floor, but the cold is not uncomfortable. It's grounding, steadying. You wiggle your toes just to feel the sensation and watch the tiny movement travel across your skin like a quiet, private signal. You are here. You are standing in the hallway. You don't remember walking here. You don't remember a door. You don't remember leaving your bed. But you're not alarmed. The thought that this is strange floats by like a feather, turning gently in the air, and then drifts away. This place is calm. You look up. On either side of the hallway, evenly spaced, there are doors. They have smooth surfaces and simple handles. No signs, no labels, nothing to distinguish one from another at first glance. But something in you knows that behind each one, something different waits. A memory. A feeling. A possibility you haven't lived yet. You're not sure how you know that. In dreams, knowing just happens. You take a slow breath. The air smells faintly of something clean and quiet. Not a scent you can name exactly. Not flowers, not rain, not soap. Just the suggestion of something fresh, like pages in an unread book. Far ahead, the hallway fades into a gentle blur, as if your vision stops just short of the end. You know it goes on. You can feel it. But you can't quite see it. You take your first step. The sound of your foot touching the floor is soft and dull, absorbed immediately by the walls. The second step follows, and then another, your pace unhurried, almost weightless. There is no urgency here. No one calling your name. No clock ticking down. You walk simply because walking feels right. One of the doors on your right draws your attention. You don't see it move. You don't hear it call. You just feel the slightest tug, like a quiet, polite invitation. You slow down. You stop. The door looks just like the others. Smooth, pale surface, simple handle. But as you stand in front of it, you notice a soft glow at its edges. Not bright enough to leak under it, not obvious enough to paint the floor, just a suggestion of light, as if a room on the other side is gently awake. You reach for the handle. Your hand is steady. Your heartbeat is slow. Fingers curl around cool metal, and when you turn it, there is no click, no creak, no sound at all. The door simply yields, opening inward with a movement so smooth it feels more like a thought than an action. You step inside. At first, you think you're still in the hallway. The space beyond the door is narrow and long, with the same smooth walls and soft, overhead lights. But as your eyes adjust, you notice something different. Along the right-hand wall, instead of doors, there are mirrors. Each mirror is tall and narrow, reaching almost from floor to ceiling, framed in simple, dark borders that don't draw attention to themselves. The glass is clean and crisp, reflecting the light in thin, gentle lines. You move closer to the nearest one. Your reflection appears where you expect it to, matching your posture, your tilt of the head, the way your shoulders rest. You look calm. Maybe calmer than you feel. Your eyes look a little softer, your expression more serene, as if this version of you has already accepted something you're just beginning to understand. You lift your hand. The reflection lifts its hand. But it is just a fraction of a second late. Not enough to shock you, not enough to feel like a glitch in reality, just enough for a tiny ripple of strangeness to move across the surface of your awareness. You blink. The reflection blinks. Again, that slight delay. The movement comes, but with the softness of an echo. You watch yourself for a moment. When you inhale, your chest rises in the mirror a heartbeat after yours. When you tilt your head, the mirrored version follows, smooth and graceful, just one breath behind. You should feel unnerved. Instead, you feel observed. Not by something hostile, not by something cold, but by something patient. Something that has been waiting for you to notice it for a long time. You let your hand fall back to your side. In the mirror, your hand falls a moment later. This time, as the movement ends, the reflection doesn't quite settle into the same position as you. Your fingers in the glass are spread just a little wider. Your shoulders are just a little more relaxed. It feels like the reflection is adjusting you, correcting you, showing you how to be more at ease. Behind the mirrored version of you, the reflected hallway doesn't look exactly the same as the one you're standing in. The lights are warmer. The air seems thicker, like it's filled with a slow, glowing mist. There is a depth to the reflection that wasn't there before, as if the mirror no longer shows this place but some adjacent corridor, a twin that has been drifting alongside you, just out of sight. Your reflection looks directly at you. Not almost at you. Not past you. At you. You feel your breath catch, just for a moment, not from fear, but from the sudden sense of being recognized. The mirrored you smiles softly. You don't remember deciding to smile. But the curve of your lips in reality follows, a second later this time, as if you're the echo now, and the figure in the glass is the origin. Your reflection lifts a hand again and extends it toward the inside of the mirror, palm facing you. A silent gesture. An offering. You raise your own hand, mirroring the motion. Glass should be cold. But when your palm meets the surface, it isn't. It's warm. Not hot, not burning, not blazing. Warm like skin that has been resting in sunlight. There is a faint, almost imperceptible pulse, like a slow heartbeat, moving between your fingers and the glass. The surface yields. Your hand doesn't stop. It presses slightly into the reflection, the boundary between your world and the one behind the mirror bending like the surface of water. When you pull back, the sensation lingers, a soft, tingling hum across your palm. You blink again. The mirrored hallway behind your reflection looks clearer now. And it isn't empty. Far behind your mirrored self, at the very edge of the reflection, something moves. It's subtle, like the shift of light under a door. A shape passes across the far end of the reflected corridor, a hint of movement, tall and thin and not entirely human in the lines of its posture. The gesture is slow, unhurried, like someone taking their time, unconcerned with being seen, yet not hiding either. You lean in. Your reflection does not. It stays exactly where it is, watching you, patient, calm, almost protective. Behind it, the tall, thin shape pauses. For a moment you can make out its outline. Long limbs, shoulders a little too narrow, head tilted in slight curiosity. There are no sharp teeth. No glowing, predatory eyes. No outstretched claws. Just presence. The kind of presence that feels older than words. Your heartbeat quickens, just a little. Not from terror, but from the sense that something is looking back at you from a laid reality, an adjoining world that usually remains folded neatly out of sight. The shape lifts its own hand. Far away, behind your reflection, a silhouette raises a thin arm, palm turned outward in a mirroring gesture. 3 hands now, aligned through layers of glass and light. Yours, your reflections, and the distant figures. You expect fear to rise like cold water. Instead, something else arrives. A slow, spreading quiet. A feeling that whatever this is, whatever boundary you are touching, does not intend to harm you. It's not here to scare you awake. It's here to watch you fall asleep. You lower your hand. Your reflection lowers its. The distant figure's arm drifts back to its side. The hallway around you is so silent that your own breathing sounds like waves on a distant shore, gentle, rhythmic, inevitable. You move on to the next mirror. This one is wider, as if meant for more than one person. As you step in front of it, you see yourself again. Barefoot, calm, eyes half-lidded with that faint heaviness you recognize from the edge of sleep. But behind your reflected shoulders, the background has changed. You're not standing in a hallway anymore. In the mirror, you're on a street. The houses are familiar in that strange dream way, pieces of places you've known rearranged into an almost recognizable neighborhood. Streetlights cast pools of orange-yellow light on the asphalt. The sky is a deep navy blue, on the brink between evening and night. A soft haze hangs in the air, blurring distant shapes into smudges of color. Beside the reflected you, a car rolls slowly down the street. It's silent, wheels gliding over the road without sound, headlights dim to a soft, diffuse glow. The driver is a vague shape, barely defined, more suggestion than person. You look down. In reality, you are still standing in the quiet hallway. Cold floor under your feet. Smooth walls at your sides. Soft ceiling lights above. You look up again. In the mirror, the car passes behind you, and as its headlights sweep across the glass, for a moment, their glow seems to bleed into your side of reality. You feel a faint warmth brush the edge of your skin, like distant light grazing your arm. You reach out, fingertip hovering just above the surface of the mirror where the car's headlights shine. You don't touch it. You just feel the suggestion of contact. And then, for a brief, impossible moment, you hear it. Not loud. Not crisp. But undeniably there, the soft hum of an engine, carried through layers of reality like sound underwater. Your reflection doesn't react. In the glass, you continue to stand calmly, breathing slowly, eyes slightly softer than your real ones. The street, the car, the lights. It's like watching a memory you never had, something belonging to a version of you that walks different paths. The car reaches the end of the street and fades into a gentle blur. Its taillights dim until they are no more than two distant pinpricks, and then they disappear. Very slowly, your mirrored self turns. Not toward the car, not toward the street, but toward you. Your reflection raises its eyes and looks straight into yours with that same soft recognition, that patient awareness. It feels like meeting your own gaze from somewhere further along the path, like looking into your future, or into a self from another branch of the dream. The background behind your reflection shifts, subtly. The street lights soften, stretching upward into tall, slender shapes. The houses flatten, their edges smoothing out until they become indistinct, like painted scenery melting into color. The sky deepens, navy blue dissolving into a richer, velvety darkness threaded with faint, pulsing points of light. Stars. You realize suddenly that you're not sure whether the mirror is showing a dream you're having now, a dream you will have later, or a dream someone else is having entirely. But the difference doesn't seem to matter. The reflection lifts a hand and presses its palm gently against the inside of the glass again. This time, its expression is not just calm, it's reassuring. You exhale. You place your hand over theirs. Warmth, again. That slow hum, that almost heartbeat under the surface. It travels up your arm, through your chest, across your shoulders, like a wave of drowsiness wrapped in light. Your eyelids feel heavy. You don't remember when you closed them, but when you open them again, the mirror is simply a mirror. The hallway is just a hallway. The background behind your reflection is ordinary and flat, reflecting exactly what's around you, no more, no less. The strange street is gone. The silent car is gone. The distant figure in the first mirror is nowhere to be seen. You take a step back. The mirrors stretch down the corridor, waiting. You feel no obligation to visit them all. There is no pressure, no demand. Just options. Doors without hinges, providing glimpses into the thin line between what you call a dream and what you call real. You turn away. The door you entered through is behind you. When you step back into the main hallway, the air feels even quieter than before, as if something in that mirrored room absorbed not only sound but a little of the weight you carried with you. You walk. Time in this place doesn't behave the way it does when you're awake. You could walk for minutes or hours, and it would feel the same. Your feet never ache. Your breathing never becomes strained. Your thoughts drift but don't scatter. They stretch and soften, lengthening into calm, seamless threads. Another door draws your attention. This one, unlike the others, already stands slightly ajar. No light leaks around its edges. Instead, what pulls you toward it is the faintest rhythm, a quiet, steady repetition, too slow to be a ticking clock, too soft to be a heartbeat. It feels more like the rise and fall of sleeping breath. You push the door gently. It opens without resistance. Inside, the room is small and simple. A bed sits against the far wall, neatly made, the covers smooth and inviting. A single nightstand stands beside it, holding a lamp with a pale shade that glows with warm, subdued light. The walls are bare. There are no decorations, no windows, no clutter. Just a bed, a lamp, and a feeling of softness. You walk closer. The mattress dips subtly under an invisible weight, as if someone is already lying there, though the bed looks empty. The pattern in the blanket seems slightly disturbed, not messy, but not perfectly flat either, like a body just shifted, settling deeper into comfort. You can't see anyone. But if you listen closely, you can hear it, the faintest suggestion of breathing. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Slow. Rhythmic. Steady. You realize, after a moment, that it's matching your own breath. You stand at the side of the bed, watching the covers. There is no fear in this room. No sense of someone hiding, no lurking presence. Whatever is lying there is not a stranger. It feels like a version of you that got here first. You sit down carefully on the edge of the bed. The mattress gives the way real mattresses do, not like clouds or mist, but with the familiar firmness of something built to hold a body. You place one hand against the blanket and feel that underlying warmth, not from a lamp, not from the air, but from the suggestion of a sleeping form. For a while, you just sit. The rhythm of breathing continues. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Your own chest rises and falls in time with it, your lungs syncing up as if they are two instruments playing the same slow song. Each breath feels a little deeper, a little heavier, like your body is gradually remembering how good it feels to rest. Without fully deciding to, you lie down. The mattress cradles you. The pillow embraces the weight of your head just enough, yielding but supportive, like the pillow on your bed in the waking world. The blanket draws itself up around you, not tugged by hands, but pulled by the quiet gravity of the dream, tucking you in with a gentleness that feels both familiar and new. The breathing is closer now. It's not coming from beside you, not from above or below. It's coming from inside you, and yet somehow also from everywhere in the room. It feels like the entire space is breathing, expanding and contracting with each careful inhale and exhale. You close your eyes. For a moment, you hover in that soft borderland where thoughts still form sentences, but those sentences don't feel urgent anymore. They arrive in pieces and dissolve before they finish. Time loosens its grip. You're aware of the hallway outside the room. You're aware of your bed in the waking world. You're aware of yourself lying here, in this small, simple place between. Something shifts. Not in the room. In the texture of reality around the room. You feel it like a faint vibration, a tiny tremor, as if a curtain somewhere far away in the building has been pulled aside. The air does not grow colder. The light does not flicker. Instead, the soft warmth of the lamp seems to deepen, turning richer, more golden. You are not alone. The awareness arrives slowly, like a tide inching in over sand. You don't hear footsteps. You don't hear a door open. You simply become aware that there is another presence in the room. Not directly above you. Not looming. Not crowding. Somewhere nearby. Somewhere just out of sight. You keep your eyes closed. Because it feels right to do so. The breathing stays slow and even. You inhale. You exhale. The room inhales. The room exhales. And underneath that rhythm, another sound emerges. A faint hum. It's almost not a sound at all, more an impression, a frequency that brushes against your senses in a way you can't quite name. It's neither high nor low, neither mechanical nor organic. It's the kind of tone you might feel in your bones before you could ever hear it with your ears. You let it wash over you. At first, you try to place it. Is it like the vibration of distant power lines? The low murmur of an airplane far above the clouds? The quiet song electronics sing when a room is filled with sleeping machines? But the more you listen, the less it sounds like anything you've heard before, and the more it feels like something that has always been there, beneath the surface of reality, unnoticed. The presence shifts, a little closer now. You feel it not as a body or a weight, but as a gentle difference in the air. A spot where the atmosphere seems thicker, more intentional. If you opened your eyes and looked directly at the corner of the room, you might see nothing at all. Or you might see the outline of something tall and a little too slender, something that doesn't fit easily into the shapes your mind expects. You don't open your eyes. Instead, you relax deeper into the bed. The hum adjusts, almost imperceptibly, as if tuning itself to you. The frequency changes not in pitch, but in feeling, aligning with your heartbeat, with your breath, with the slow waves that ripple across the surface of your thoughts. You get the sense, without any words, without any voice, that this presence is listening. Not to your conversations or your secrets, not to the noise of your day, but to the patterns of your sleep. To the way your mind drifts, to the shapes it makes when you finally stop holding it in place. In that quiet, wordless way, you understand something. It's been here before. Not in this exact room, not necessarily in this exact shape, but near you, at the edge of your dreams, for a long time. Long enough to recognize the rhythm of your thoughts. Long enough to know the weight of your exhaustion and the subtle ache in your chest when you try to rest but can't. It is not here to frighten you awake. It is here to watch you move between states. The hum settles into a steady tone. The air grows, softer, somehow. You become aware of your body from a slight distance, as if you're observing yourself lying here rather than being entirely inside your skin. Your limbs feel heavier but also further away, like they're resting at the bottom of a warm, shallow pool. Images start to appear behind your closed eyelids. Not sharp, not bright, not fully formed, just drifting pieces of scenes. A streetlight glowing in morning fog. The reflection of a window on a train at night. Hands resting on a table, fingers relaxed, the light catching on a single ring. The presence doesn't interfere. It doesn't push images in front of you. It doesn't project visions or impose meaning. It simply stays. Watching. Matching its quiet hum to the ebb and flow of your drifting awareness. The strange thing is that, on some level, you're aware this isn't just a dream. You can feel your real body in your real bed. The shift of the sheet against your leg. The weight of the blanket across your shoulder. The faint pressure of your head on your pillow in the waking world. You are in both places at once. And this time, unlike so many other nights, the overlap doesn't frighten you. You don't cling desperately to one side or the other. You let yourself hover, suspended gently between dream and reality. The presence draws closer again. You can almost feel where it is now, standing beside the bed, near your head, not leaning over you, not reaching toward you, just there. Tall, still, patient. Its attention feels like a soft light, resting on your closed eyes, on your forehead, on the space just above. For a moment, the hum fades. There is only silence. And in that silence, something happens. The room falls away. Not violently. Not like the floor dropping out from beneath you. More like the edges of the space dissolve, becoming indistinct, until the idea of walls no longer seems relevant. You don't feel yourself moving, yet suddenly you are elsewhere. You standing in a place that is not quite outside and not quite inside. A space that feels open like a field but enclosed like a room. The ground beneath your feet is solid but textureless, neither stone nor wood nor soil. The air around you is clear but not empty, filled with a faint, shimmering haze that glows with its own soft light. Above you, there is no ceiling. There is a sky. It's not the sky you know. It's darker, deeper, threaded with countless points of light that are not arranged the way constellations are from your world. Some of them pulse rhythmically, brightening and dimming, while others remain steady and still. A wide, gentle band of pale, luminous haze arcs overhead, like a painted path across the universe. The presence is here too. This time, you see it. It stands a short distance away, not facing you at first, its gaze turned upward toward the unfamiliar sky. Its body is tall, elongated, proportions stretched just beyond what you'd expect. Limbs long, torso narrow, neck slightly extended. Its skin, or whatever covers its form, has a faint, almost metallic sheen, not reflective enough to show clear images, but enough to catch hints of the surrounding light. When it turns toward you, you notice something that calms you immediately. Its movements are slow. There is no sharpness, no twitching, no sudden lunges. Every gesture flows into the next with the same gentle inevitability as your own breathing. It feels less like an animal and more like a slow-moving current. Where its face should be, you don't see eyes the way you know them. Instead, there is a smooth surface with subtle, shifting patterns of light, small, soft glows that brighten and dim, moving in lines and spirals. As it looks at you, those patterns rearrange themselves, forming shapes that feel oddly like expressions, even if you couldn't say exactly what they mean. You don't feel threatened. You feel seen. Not as a collection of details, not as a body or a mind, but as something whole. As a person, you realize, with a calm that surprises you, that this isn't the first time you've been here. Not this exact place, maybe, but someplace like it. A not place between waking and sleeping, where the rules of either world loosen just enough for something else to approach. The presence takes a step closer. The ground does not shake. The air does not tremble. It simply arrives, standing near you, leaving plenty of space. When it raises one of its long arms, you notice that its hand, if that's the right word, is not shaped like yours. There are more fingers than you'd expect, and they are longer, jointed in ways that allow for graceful arcs of movement. It extends its hand toward you, palm open. Not demanding. Not insisting. Offering. You know, instinctively, that you don't have to accept. You could stay exactly where you are. You could watch and wait and eventually wake up, returning to your bed with only a hazy half-memory of this place. But you also know that this moment has been waiting for you. Not just tonight, not just in this dream, but across many nights when you brushed against the edge of something and turned away, startled by your own awareness. Tonight, you are calmer. Tonight, you are tired in that deep way that makes you brave. You reach out. Your hand hovers above the extended palm. You expect contact, the familiar sensation of touch. But instead, just before your skin meets theirs, you feel something else. A field, a presence, like a warm, invisible layer holding itself between you. It's not resistance. It's alignment. Your fingers sink into that warmth, and in that instant, everything around you shifts. Not visually. The strange sky remains overhead. The soft, textureless ground still supports you. The presence still stands in front of you, hand outstretched, calm. The shift happens inside you. Your thoughts, which only moments ago felt like separate threads trailing in different directions, memories, worries, fragmented images, suddenly begin to move together. Not crushed into one. Not forced into a single point. Just gently guided into a pattern. You don't hear words. You don't hear a voice. But meaning arrives. Softly, gradually, like light leaking in around the edges of a curtain. You understand, not with logic, not with language, but with the same part of you that recognizes the difference between comfort and danger, that this being has watched your kind sleep for a very long time. Not just you. Humanity. From a distance at first. From the edges of consciousness, from the shadows of dreams, from that thin, gauzy fabric between full wakefulness and deep, dreamless rest. They learned early on that they couldn't just step into your world. Your minds weren't built for that kind of intrusion. Your nervous systems flared with fear at the unfamiliar, at the two strange shapes and two wide eyes, at the idea of something from the outside leaning over your bed. So they learned patience. They learned to appear first in dreams, where the rules were already flexible, where your minds were accustomed to bending, stretching, reshaping reality. They came in forms that borrowed pieces of what you knew. Tall figures in the corner of the room, silhouettes against the sky, faces glimpsed in reflections. They watched your reactions. Fear. Awe. curiosity, denial. Over time, they realized something very simple. If they wanted to be near you without hurting you, they had to come as quietly as possible. So they shifted further into the background. Instead of standing at the center of your dreams, they lingered at the edges, where awareness thinned. They hummed softly at the limits of your perception, just enough to nudge your sleep a little deeper, to soften the sharp edges of night maze, to hold the line between you and the chaotic noise of your own mind. You never knew they were there. Not clearly. Not in a way you could bring fully into waking memory. But sometimes, on nights when you thought you'd been alone in your bed, staring at the ceiling, waiting to rest. You weren't. The thought should unsettle you. It doesn't. Because as the meaning unfurls through the connection between you and the presence, it's accompanied by a feeling so gentle, so careful, that it dissolves the fear before it has a chance to form. You realize that they are not interested in your secrets, or your power, or your resources. They are interested in your transitions. The moments when you cross from one state to another. From wake to sleep. From dream to reality. From fear to calm. To them, those moments are like rare celestial events, eclipses, alignments of distant stars, flashes of something pure and unguarded in your consciousness. Tonight, for reasons you don't fully grasp, your transition is special. Something about the weight you carried today. Something about the particular pattern of exhaustion, the precise arrangement of disappointment and hope and stray thoughts. You have reached a threshold where the line between your inner world and the outer one is thin enough for them to do something they rarely do. Let you notice. You stand there, hand hovering inside the invisible warmth of their open palm, while waves of understanding move through you. You see, not with your eyes but with whatever inner sense is active here, glimpses of other nights in your life. Nights when you woke with the certainty that someone had just been standing at your door but saw nothing there. Nights when a strange calm washed over you in the middle of a spiraling surge of anxiety, as if something had placed a hand gently on your racing thoughts and said, "Not now. Rest first." Nights when your dreams stitched themselves into a story that left you feeling comforted for reasons you couldn't explain. You thought those moments came from nowhere. They didn't. The being in front of you has no name you can pronounce, no simple label you can give it. To call it an alien feels too small, too loaded with human fears and expectations. But in the language of your world, in the limited vocabulary you have, that's all you can say. You are standing in the presence of an alien consciousness that has learned, over time, to cradle your species at its most vulnerable. Not all of them do this. You get the sense, again, through that gentle drift of meaning, that there are many like it, spread across vast distances you can't imagine. Some are curious in ways you would find unsettling. Some are indifferent. Some are hostile. This one is not. This one has chosen, for reasons that are as much instinct as decision, to be a watcher of sleep. The hum between your hand and theirs adjusts again, fine-tuning itself until it matches your internal state with eerie precision. Your shoulders relax. Your jaw unclenches. The thoughts at the outer edges of your awareness, the ones that still try to whisper your name and drag you back to unfinished tasks, grow quieter, like voices fading down a long hallway. You realize that you are being guided, not forced, not pushed, simply accompanied, through the transition between dreaming this place and resting more deeply. Tonight, the transition is not a line. It's a bridge. And on that bridge, you are not walking alone. You don't know how long you stand there. It could be seconds. It could be hours. Time has loosened its grip entirely, stretched and softened like everything else in this strange, in-between space. At some point, the presence slowly withdraws its hand. The warmth remains in your palm for a moment, then drifts upward, through your arm, across your chest, into your head, where it settles like a weightless blanket draped gently across your thoughts. You follow the movement, your focus turning inward. The sky above you begins to dim, not growing darker, but fading into something less defined, as if the universe itself is exhaling and letting go of sharp outlines. The ground under your feet feels softer. Your body feels less like a shape and more like a collection of sensations. You blink. When you open your eyes, you are back in the small room with the bed. You're lying down. The lamp still glows softly. The air still feels warm. The breathing in the room is still slow and synchronized with yours. You turn your head slightly, not with effort, not with strain, but with the lazy ease of someone floating in warm water. In the corner of the room, just at the edge of your vision, you can see the faint outline of a tall figure. It stands very still. The patterns of light where its face should be are dim, calmer now, pulsing in slow, gentle waves. It doesn't move closer. It doesn't reach out. It just stands there, watching over the boundary between your dream and your body. You understand, with a clarity that doesn't need words. It is making sure you cross safely. Back through the hallway you walked. Back through the door you opened. Back through the mirrors and the streets and the moments when you glimpsed reflections of other lives. It is making sure that when you wake, you will do so not with the jagged jolt of disrupted sleep, but with the soft drift of a tide receding. You close your eyes again. The presence remains. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. The hum recedes to a barely there vibration, like the memory of a sound rather than the sound itself. Your body in the waking world, lying in your bed, in your room, under your own familiar blanket, settles a little deeper. Muscles release tension they've been holding all day. As you drift downward, away from the last islands of conscious thought, one final understanding rests gently in your mind. You are not alone in the moments when reality loosens. When your mind crosses from one state to another, when the world becomes a little strange at the edges and shadows seem to move with minds of their own, sometimes it's not your imagination. Sometimes, something very old and very patient is standing just beyond the reach of your senses, making sure that you make it across. It doesn't need thanks. It doesn't need recognition. It just does what it does. Tonight, for once, you got to see it. Or almost see it. You feel the bed beneath you, both beds, the dream bed and the real one, hold you in place as if the entire universe has agreed, for these few hours, to leave you untouched. The last thing you sense, before sleep finally closes over you completely, is the presence in the corner of the room turning its attention upward, beyond ceilings and roofs and clouds, toward a sky full of stars you cannot yet understand. And then, gently, thoroughly, peacefully, you let go. You slip fully into sleep. And somewhere, at the edge of both your dream and your reality, something watches the transition with quiet, endless care.